Maid helped introverted boss save his company and also helped him become social. What happened next will blow your mind. Hello guys, and welcome back to my channel, where we bring you the latest and most interesting Nigerian movie updates. This movie is packed with valuable life lessons you won't want to miss, so let's dive right in. This movie begins with a handsome young man named Harrison, who is woken up by his mother, Mrs. Blessing, asking him to get ready for work. Harrison is supposed to address the staff at his father's company, but he isn't prepared. His mother insists that he hurry up, then leaves the room. Meanwhile, in another scene, a beautiful young lady who is also an app developer is working on a proposal on her laptop when her friend checks in on her. She had submitted her proposal to several companies, but was rejected by all of them. Her friend encourages her and suggests she applies for a job at one of those app development companies. However, she declines, and they start discussing what to have for breakfast. The next day, Mrs. Blessing brings some documents for Harrison to sign. She scolds him for missing the company's meeting, then asks him to come downstairs for lunch. Harrison insists the food should be brought to his room. Meanwhile, in the kitchen, Mrs. Blessing scolds her niece, Ivy, for not knowing how to cook. Later, Ivy takes Harrison's food to his room. He asks her to drop it and leave, but Ivy confronts him for ignoring her during the 2 weeks she stayed in the house. He responds, and she walks away angrily. Later that day, Harrison is on a phone call with a company staff member, expressing his displeasure about an app project that's nearing approval. The next day, Ivy is cooking, but gets confused about what to add next. Mrs. Blessing enters the kitchen to check what Ivy has prepared so far. Once again unsatisfied, she scolds Ivy for not knowing how to cook. She then asks Ivy to get her phone because it was ringing. On the call, Mrs. Blessing speaks to Mr. Smith and asks him to urgently help her find a housekeeper. The next morning, Mrs. Blessing goes to Harrison's room to wake him up and tells him to get ready for work because he has a meeting with the staff at the office. Harrison refuses and suggests having a Zoom meeting instead. Mrs. Blessing is displeased and expresses her disappointment that he hasn't physically met with the staff since becoming CEO. Mr. Smith informs Ruth, who is job hunting, about the housekeeper vacancy, but she turns it down. When she tells her friend Belinda about it, Belinda insists on taking the job because the pay, $150,000, is too good to ignore. The next morning, Belinda attends the interview. She tells Mrs. Blessing that she is a graduate. Mrs. Blessing is surprised and explains the job description to her. She also asks Belinda to guide Ivy in house management, as Ivy knows nothing. Mrs. Blessing adds an extra $150,000 to the salary and tells Ivy to take Belinda around the house and collect her phone. Later that day, Ivy shares her concerns with Harrison, who has basically turned his room into an office. She complains that he never goes out or socializes. But Harrison makes it clear he isn't bothered and prefers things that way. Ivy walks away, feeling the conversation was a waste of time. That day, Belinda returns home, jubilant, and shares the good news with her friend, who downplays the job's importance. The next day at work, Belinda coaches Ivy on some cooking techniques. She has to call Ivy to order because her constant phone use is distracting. In the living room, where Belinda is teaching Ivy how to mop, Harrison sees them and quickly rushes back to his room. He then calls Ivy to help him get water from the kitchen, but she refuses because she wants him to come out of the room himself. Ivy tells Belinda about Harrison, then steps outside to answer a phone call. Meanwhile, Harrison quickly dashes out, grabs what he needs, and hurries back to his room. Ivy tells Belinda that her cousin Harrison is the CEO of his father's company, yet he never attends meetings. His mother handles everything. He has no friends, and every time she tries to spend time with him, it becomes a problem. Belinda doesn't see Harrison as just an introvert, but as someone who is a social. She speaks like someone who understands him deeply. Belinda seems to know how to handle such a personality. And what happens next proves they truly enjoyed each other's company. Right in Harrison's room, he was surprised to see the cleaner who brought his food. She greeted him, but he didn't respond. As soon as she left, he began to complain. Belinda finished her duties for the day and left. Ivy then told Mrs. Blessing what she had learned and also shared what Belinda had said about Harrison. She hinted that Belinda believed she could manage him, but Mrs. Blessing, who had sensed this from the beginning, was just observing to see how things would unfold. That day, Belinda returned home only to hear the news that the landlord's lawyer wanted to collect rent before it was due. She was upset as time passed. The next day, Belinda was surprised to see Harrison in the kitchen. She tried to start a conversation with him, but he walked out on her. Later, Ivy was taking pictures of herself when Mrs. Blessing walked in. She seized Ivy's phone and gave her an ultimatum: prepare a delicious meal for the household or never get her phone back. Harrison later caught Belinda in his room, looking through his work documents. He asked her why she was going through them, as he believed she didn't understand such things. Belinda pointed out how rude he sounded, then explained the concept in the documents: an idea for an app that would allow people around the world to sign documents from the comfort of their homes. She complimented the idea and then left. In the kitchen, Ivy pleaded with Belinda to help her out with cooking. At first, Belinda refused, but agreed after giving Ivy a few conditions. That evening, after Harrison spoke confidently with one of his staff on the phone, his mother encouraged him to go to the office in person. He refused, but when she mentioned Belinda, he complimented her. Mrs. Blessing was surprised, as Harrison had never done that, not even to her. They shared a pleasant moment. That evening, Ruth spoke negatively about Harrison after Belinda told her more about him. But Belinda defended him, saying he was intelligent and well-spoken. She called Ruth names and they ended up fighting over their food. The next day, while Belinda was in the kitchen preparing a meal, Harrison watched her from a distance, smiling as she enjoyed herself. He returned to his room and started rehearsing how to say hello to her. Belinda came to deliver his food and quietly advised him to calm down and not make things too obvious. After she left, he blamed himself for being caught. Later that day, Belinda instructed Ivy to get to work, since she had done nothing all day. She threatened to report her to her aunt, then left, while Ivy began to complain. Harrison sat in his room deep in thought. For the first time in his life, he wanted to talk to someone, but he didn't know how to start a conversation, let alone keep it going. In the kitchen, Harrison approached Belinda. She could tell he wanted to talk, but didn't know how. They eventually started talking about work. He told her he was a software engineer like his dad. To his surprise, she also studied software engineering. He shared that Mercury Infotech, his family business, was the second largest app and web development company in Nigeria. They continued chatting, enjoying each other's company and exchanging compliments. Wow, who would have believed Harrison could have such a long conversation? Let's see how long it lasts. The next day, Harrison was angry and didn't know what to do. His company's app had just crashed, something that had never happened before. He complained to his mother about it. When Belinda asked what was wrong and offered to help, he told her to come to his room to check the code. In his room, Belinda advised him to call his team and ask them to temporarily shut down all activity on the app. He followed her advice, and then she began guiding him through the situation. That night, Belinda fell asleep in his room. When she woke up the next morning and realized the time, she insisted on going home to avoid being late for work. Harrison suggested she freshen up and start work from there. He reassured her that they hadn't slept on the same bed. At the dining table, Mrs. Blessing was surprised to see Harrison up early. Ivy began teasing him. After Belinda brought breakfast, Harrison explained that she had slept over because of the app issue. Though the problem wasn't fully resolved, he would take care of the rest. Mrs. Blessing was impressed by their progress and thanked Belinda. Later that day, Belinda told Ivy what meal they were to prepare: coconut rice. Ivy wasn't thrilled, but had no choice. Belinda went to check on Harrison, and he asked why she hadn't applied to work at a company. She explained that because she's creative and intelligent, she doesn't want any company to exploit her ideas, paying her peanuts and taking all the credit. Instead, she hopes to work with people who believe in her dreams because she has a vision. Harrison told her to bring her project the next day, along with her NDA, non-disclosure agreement, so he could sign it. This made her so excited that she gave him a hug. She quickly apologized and left. Belinda got home and told her friend everything that had happened the day before, as they enjoyed the moment together. The next day, Belinda brought everything she was asked to bring. Harrison signed the NDA, and she took the rest of her project materials to his room for a proper review. Ivy was surprised to see Harrison in the living room. That had never happened before. In Harrison's room, Belinda persuaded him to go on a walk with her later that day after she was done with her tasks. He made a small comment about it, which she brushed off playfully. That day, Belinda and Harrison went for a walk. She challenged him to greet at least 5 people. At first, he was shy, but eventually, he successfully greeted 4 people. Belinda praised him as they headed back home. Mrs. Blessing had been looking for her son and found out from Ivy that Belinda had taken him for a walk. When they returned, Harrison was excited as he told his mother about the experience. Mrs. Blessing sounded like something was wrong at first, and Belinda began to apologize, but instead, she hugged Belinda for what she had done. They all enjoyed the moment together. Guys, why do you think Harrison listens to Belinda? And do you think people like Harrison can become more interactive and do what others do? Let's watch and find out. Later that day, Mrs. Blessing came to her son and asked if he liked Belinda, since he listens to her more than anyone else. She then told him about a lunch party at the office and that he would attend, but only if Belinda agreed to go too. Then she left, without waiting to hear whether he agreed or not. That night, Belinda told her friend about her madam's proposal, which she accepted. She promised to handle everything, telling her friend she had nothing to worry about. Belinda admitted she liked Harrison because of how smart and intelligent he is, and even if he didn't like her back, she wouldn't mind. The next morning, after Mrs. Blessing told Belinda to go freshen up for the day, Harrison came in and got upset with Belinda for accepting the invitation without telling him. She tried to understand why he was angry and asked if they were even friends, because she couldn't figure out what she did wrong. Then, Harrison suddenly kissed her and explained that he was upset because she didn't come to say hi to him. Then he left. Belinda looked very beautiful that morning, and Mrs. Blessing admired her appearance and wished them well before they left. The next morning, Ruth woke Belinda up for work, but her madam had already given her the day off after the long day they had before. Ruth was excited and eagerly waited to hear Belinda's update on how everything went. Meanwhile, Harrison was pacing around the house that morning. Ivy came in and teased him, telling him that Belinda, the person he was obviously waiting for, had been given the day off because of the previous night. When he asked for Belinda's number, Ivy demanded $50,000 before giving it to him. Later in the day, Mrs. Blessing went through some documents in her son's room and noticed how unique they were. Harrison, who had just finished speaking with Belinda, walked in. He told his mother that the ideas were actually Belinda's and that he wanted to share them with his team at the office. She smiled and then informed him that Belinda had taken the day off. The next day, Mrs. Blessing had a meeting with Belinda, appreciating her. She told her that ever since Belinda came into their lives, Harrison had been coming out of his shell, and she was truly happy about that as time went on. Belinda later went to see Harrison, who ended his phone call when she arrived. He kissed her again, and she asked him why. He then opened up about his feelings, making her understand that what he felt for her was real. He admitted that his past relationships never lasted long, but this was different. Belinda confessed that she felt the same way. However, instead of showing excitement, Harrison returned to his work as the moment passed. Belinda shared what had happened with her friend, telling her how Harrison expressed his feelings, which were mutual. She was excited about it. Ruth didn't believe it at first, but when Belinda explained more about him, she became genuinely happy for her. The next day, while they were spending time together, Belinda asked Harrison what he liked about her. He told her, and then shared the news that his team was currently working on her app idea. She was thrilled because it meant she would soon be working with him. Later that evening, as Belinda was about to leave, Harrison insisted that she spend the night at his place, and she agreed. In the room, they drank wine together. He opened up about his past relationships, explaining how they had been arranged by his parents and never lasted more than 3 weeks because he wasn't ready for the responsibility. But now, he said he was ready, as they enjoyed the moment together. The next morning, Mrs. Blessing came to see her son and saw Belinda asleep on his bed. she quietly walked away. Harrison later calmed her down and assured her that everything was all right. Belinda went home that day and explained everything that had happened to her friend. She wasn't sure how to feel. At some point, she felt silly for agreeing to sleep over, and her friend made fun of her for it. Later, Mrs. Blessing confronted her son and warned him to stay away from Belinda, not because Belinda lacked good qualities, but because of how he had treated other women in the past. She didn't want Belinda to go through the same thing. However, Harrison assured her that Belinda was the only one he had ever truly connected with. He never felt that way with anyone else. His words convinced his mother, and she promised to call Belinda back before leaving. That afternoon, when Belinda came to see Mrs. Blessing, she met Ivy and encouraged her to keep improving her cooking skills, since she would no longer be working due to recent events. Mrs. Blessing then arrived and accepted Belinda's resignation. She explained that she had spoken to Harrison and that the decision was now up to Belinda, as Harrison had agreed and insisted on being with her. However, Mrs. Blessing gave one strict condition, that Belinda must take good care of her son. Belinda was excited. She ran to Harrison and shared the good news, although she was still nervous about his mother's reaction. Harrison then told her to get ready. They would be going to work together from now on. They enjoyed the moment together. Belinda told Ruth everything that had happened. Ruth insisted that she should ask for money and a house, but Belinda laughed and told her to help her get ready for her upcoming meeting, which she was very excited about. The next morning, Mrs. Blessing was surprised to see her son dressed and ready for work. He was visibly nervous, but she encouraged him. When she asked about Belinda, he told her he was going to pick her up. That day, Belinda and Harrison were enjoying the moment together when Mrs. Blessing walked in and joined them. They all enjoyed the time together. Days later, Mrs. Blessing asked Belinda when she would like to launch her app. Belinda gave her a date, and everyone began preparing for the launch the following month. Ivy and Ruth then arrived. Ruth was already talking and running her mouth, saying she couldn't wait to live in such a house once she started making money from her social media. They all enjoyed the moment together. This movie teaches us that people are different and unique in their own way. Those who want to learn will learn, and those who don't want to won't, no matter how much you try. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more intriguing and captivating movie updates. See you soon.